everybody, it's Blobby back again. I hope you're all doing well. Before I get started with this video, I would like to thank everybody, all these new subscribers, for helping me hit 200. It means a lot to me. I haven't had much growth until like really recently, and it's kind of crazy how fast everything's gone. Doubled my sub count in like 2 weeks or something. But yeah, today we're just going to be hopping back into the Nick Iceberg. Hopefully these tiers have some more interesting entries, but for now, let's just get right into it. JoJo Siwa board game backlash. So, stepping into our first entry, JoJo Siwa's board game featured her name and her image, and it was marketed as something made by her for kids. The problem with that is the game itself contained things that should not have been kind of sent and advertised towards children, or especially under like a kid-friendly name like JoJo Siwa. But JoJo herself says she had no idea what questions were in the game, and if she had known, she said that she never would have given it the green light to go out. Cat Dog parents. Cat Dog's parents are never really known in the show. We know that Cat Dog was adopted by a Sasquatch and a frog with a nose, which we learned in the episode Cat Dog and the Great Parent Mystery, where Cat Dog had appeared after like a tornado and gotten picked up by the Sasquatch and the frog, and they were raised. Real Monsters pilot. The Real Monsters pilot never aired, and there is very little info about it. I couldn't really see too much about it. All we know that the episode was about Icky leaving his monster manual during a failed attempt at a scare, and he must get it or face the Wumble's wrath. Popular shows that weren't picked up. Nick has had plenty of shows that had, good amounts of popularity that they just didn't pick up. There's nothing really too much deeper to it. The pilot for Drake and Josh. The Drake and Josh pilot aired on January 11th, 2004. The episode features Drake and Josh becoming stepbrothers. Josh is very excited while Drake isn't. Drake then finds out Josh is Miss Nancy, who is an anonymous advice columnist for the school paper. Drake uses this newfound knowledge to try to score a date with Tiffany Margolis, but instead, her boyfriend thinks Josh asked her out and tries to fight Josh. Josh spends the entire episode training and then gets knocked out in one hit. Ant Bully killed Jimmy Neutron. Ant Bully was a movie created by DNA Productions that tanked so heavily that DNA Productions ended up going down, leading to the death or end of Jimmy Neutron. Chalk Zone planned ending. This is the thought that the Chalk Zone had a planned ending rather than a random episode being the end. I couldn't find anything about the episode or any info, even maybe a storyboard or anything. It's assumed that it was never made just for the fact that it was during the show ended or was canceled during the time Nick had canceled every Nicktoon other than SpongeBob and Avatar. So potentially the creators of the show had an idea for an ending, but it never came to fruition. The unaired Double Dare episode. There are 2 unaired episodes, but I'm assuming they're talking about the more notorious one, which is the arm-breaking incident. There's an episode of Double Dare that was recorded and never aired because a kid broke his arm doing one of the obstacles on the show. They went down this sewer chute, and they didn't get up for a few seconds. Initially, the producers of the show thought the kid died or something, but it turns out he just broke his arm. Fearing a lawsuit, they just gave him the prize for the 7th obstacle as compensation, and there was just they didn't have a serious case against them. They kind of settled it, but the episode never aired, and there's really not much known otherwise about it. Crybaby Lane. Crybaby Lane was a 2000s horror TV film that never aired outside of the USA. It never received a home media release, and it was only rebroadcasted in 2011. A basic description of it is 2 teens summon an evil spirit and are haunted for it. Quarantined Crab. This is an episode of SpongeBob that was set to be released in 2020, but ended up being released in 2021. Basic little synopsis of it is, the Krusty Krab goes under immediate quarantine when Andy Yellowtail detects an outbreak of the clam flu in the restaurant, locking everybody in there for days on end. The El Tigre the alternate ending for El Tigre features Manny choosing a road of evil, and then even coming to the point where he becomes the unquestioned ruler of the world, rather than the ending that the viewers of the TV show had voted on, which would be him being the good guy. GAC definition. GAC slime was marketed to kids during like the 90s. It was actually named after the Philly slang word for heroin, but the actual definition that you can get off Google is it's cocaine or a sticky and messy substance. Assuming the best, they probably meant the sticky and messy substance version of that definition, but probably not a good idea to have two other negative connotations around that word. The Gear comic was a comic created by Doug TenNapel. From what the Wikipedia says the story is about hominid-like cats that live in the town of Squat, which is bordered on all sides by bigger and more warlike animals. The only protection from these animals is an aged guardian, which is a gigantic battle robot. Gibby from iCarly. I don't know. I'm assuming it's just the funny video of him falling out the roof.
Wait, we forgot Gibby.
Oh yeah, Gibby!
Did you guys hear my ribs crack?
The time capsule. Nickelodeon Studios buried a time capsule in their original Universal Studios Florida in 1992. There's video footage of this somewhere, I believe. I think I'll probably show it at the end of this entry. The capsule eventually did get removed when they had moved studios from Florida to California. So that is when the capsule was dug up and it got reburied in the Nickelodeon Suites Resort, where it stays to this day.
In there?
Yeah, it's in.
Okay, put that on there. 50 years, that baby. Okay, there you go.
All right, ready?
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, do the honors. Press that thing together.
There we go.
On this spot in 50 years, the kids of the future will be able to come here and visit the first world headquarters from kids and find out what is important to kids today. We hope by then that we have found solutions to our problems, that our dreams have become realities, and that the concerned kids of 1992 have become the concerned adults of the year 2042.
Ned's Declassified Pilot. The original series pilot was called Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide and featured Boogie rather than Cookie, played by Stephen Markran. Sorry, I butchered his last name. Who was on the later series as Albert Warmenheimer. The pilot aired once on Nickelodeon as a special on September 7th, 2003. Kablam episode 28, it was titled Money Train 2, and it aired September 11th, 1998. I don't know why this is on the list. I couldn't find a controversy about the episode. I couldn't find anything really interesting about the episode. Pretty sure the episode was just kind of generically just a regular TV show episode, so I'm not really sure. Maybe one of you guys know better. I hate always, it feels like I gotta ask like every other entry to be like, you guys know why this is? But I don't know. I could not figure anything out. I was just assuming maybe it was something about the date of it being on September 11th and maybe something in the episode. Like one of those kind of The Simpsons thing where they showed some crazy, it was a fucking 99 cents and there's 2 towers and it's 9/11, something like that. I'm not sure. Speaking of 9/11, Constant Pain wasn't picked up because of 9/11. Constant Pain was an animated TV show that was pitched to Nick, but it was never picked up. According to some sources, it was due to the 9/11 attacks, which led to little appetite for a children's show featuring just violence, which was basically what the show was about. Squee. Squee was a comic by Jonan Vasquez, which is the same guy who made Invader Zim. This comic is a black comedy about a young boy named Todd Castle, otherwise known as Squee, who is suffering from being bullied and having terrible parents. This one actually looked interesting. I might check this out at some other time. Maybe I could do a deep dive into this little story and read it for you guys or something. I don't know if I'll read it, but or just review it or something. I don't know. Let me know if you guys would want to see that. Vegans protested Mr. Meaty. Mr. Meaty was protested heavily by parents. Rightfully so. It was a very weird show. I've seen some clips of it. I don't think I ever watched it when it was airing, but I've seen the clip of when he has like the worm inside of him. I don't know why I can't think of what they're called right now. And it like gets the food before you eat it, and at the very end of the episode they like fish it out and then some other guy eats it. It was weird. But it ended up getting canceled because of how mutually disliked it was from parents and vegetarians. Astrology with Squidward was a series of shorts that aired from 2000 to 2001, and it featured Squidward giving horoscopes to the 6 of 12 zodiac signs. The Patrick Star Show controversy. So this controversy with the Patrick Star Show is that it was a spin-off of SpongeBob, and the green lighting of this happening disrespects Steven Heilenberg's dying wishes, because he said that he would not like any spin-offs, not like anything like that to happen, yet they continue to do so anyway. Oswald Japanese dub. The Oswald show aired from 2001 to 2003. There was a Japanese dub of the show, also called Hello Oswald. It was obviously in Japanese, but I cannot speak Japanese, and I'm also not going to even try to do so. It aired on Playhouse Disney and Wow Wow. But there's only been 2 episodes of that dub that have surfaced on the internet. Welcome to the Wayne 2014 short. Welcome to the Wayne is about a boy named Anzi who moves into Wayne apartments. The apartments are filled with strange things and creepy happenings labeled as Wayne phenomena, and he is one of the few people that have been to the apartments and witnessed one of these strange occurrences without suffering serious psychological repercussions of it. Just One Bite, deleted scene. In the SpongeBob episode, Just One Bite, Squidward finds himself trying a Krabby Patty for the first time and getting addicted to them. In the deleted scene, Mr. Krabs has set up a security system used to deter any intruders to the Krusty Krab. The security system consisted of a bucket of gas that Squidward had mistaked for a bucket of water, which is then spilled on the floor and then catches on fire and explodes. But the scene was cut due to a standards and practices issue, and Nickelodeon being against the idea of a gag involving matches and gasoline. Chris Savino being fired. Chris Savino was the creator of The Loud House, and he was fired amidst allegations of sexual assault. Nicktropolis. Nicktropolis was a social MMO where you could create a little avatar and customize it, along with chatting with other players, creating your own room, and playing games for little Nick coins. Lost Ubi shorts. The first season of Ubi was a series of 2-minute shorts. 48 of those shorts are known to exist, 46 of them being named, with the majority of them being incomplete or lost. If you don't know, Ubi it's like a little hand puppet, kind of. It's literally just someone's hand with googly eyes on it, and they open their mouth to talk and stuff. The X's. The X's was an animated TV series created by Carlos Ramos for Nick. The story follows the X family. The X's work for Superior, which is just an organization. Tucker and Trudy X, who are the parents, have their daughter named Tuesday and their younger son named Truman. They have a whole bunch of gadgets at their disposal, but an organization named Snafu, a society of nefarious and felonious undertakings, is continuously trying to cause trouble for the X's through their plans to take over the world. People compared this to The Incredibles, but the creator of the show was like, no, this is more like James Bond. I feel like it's definitely closer to The Incredibles, like a spy family version, though. Like, not with superpowers, obviously, but I don't know. It seems interesting enough. SpongeBob Nicktoons Summer Splash. SpongeBob Nicktoons Summer Splash was a summer block that ran from 2000 to 2001 on Nickelodeon. Featured various Nickelodeon marathons, with SpongeBob and Patrick hosting, Squidward co-hosting, and Sandy in the control room. Me and My Friends. Me and My Friends was a live-action pilot filmed at Nickelodeon Studios, Florida in 1998. This concept ended up eventually being worked into the Backyardigans TV show. But that concludes the third tier of the iceberg. Let's step lower into the fourth tier.
So, what seems to be the problem, Mr. Tentacles?
It all started when I was born.
Starting us off is Kappa Mikey MTV pilot. Kappa Mikey was an animated comedy series that aired on Nicktoons Network from 2006 to 2008. The pilot of the show had been lost for an extremely long time, until a producer of the show uploaded the pilot onto YouTube. It was a rough cut with temp voice and temp music. Black Licorice. Black Licorice was a screamer game created by Nickelodeon on October 31st, 2002. The game features 3 children using real photos for their faces, dressed in costumes, and asking for candy. But if you accidentally give them black licorice, the background music will stop, and the child will ask, "Black licorice?" in a very disappointed voice before saying, "I don't like black licorice," in a demonic voice, and then they transform into a monster depending on which child you had picked. Helga's mom is an alcoholic. This theory states that Helga's mom is an alcoholic. The theory is pretty strong, obviously. It's probably a true thing and not just a theory, but I don't think it's ever been confirmed. It says because she passed out all the time, she's very disoriented when she wakes up, and she slurs her words. She also is emotionally attached to her blender, so people say that the smoothies that she makes are actually alcoholic beverages, which she just plays off as smoothies. Rugrats Go Wild was never meant for TV. This entry, not really sure what it means, but I kind of get the gist. Assuming that this was the thought that Rugrats Go Wild was never meant to be aired on TV, doesn't make a lot of sense because it wasn't aired on TV. It was aired in theaters. Initially, it was a made-for-TV film, but in the end became an 80-minute theatrical film. Maybe they mean that they, instead of it being initially thought as a made-for-TV film, they never thought of it in that way. It was always meant to be a theatrical film, but other than that, I don't understand. This entry doesn't make a lot of sense. 3D Groove game. 3D Groove was a game engine and company that was active between 1998 and 2009. Nick had a plethora of games that were made using this engine. Just to name a few real quick, there's the SpongeBob SquarePants 3D movie game, SpongeBob SquarePants Picnic, Pinball, SpongeBob SquarePants Saves the Krusty Krab, and then there's plenty of other ones, but I'm not going to go through the whole list. SpongeBob Ahoy. SpongeBob Ahoy was Steven Hillenburg's initial idea for what the name of SpongeBob SquarePants was. But the problem was the old version, SpongeBob Ahoy, had SpongeBob named SpongeBoy, but it had to be changed after Nickelodeon learned that the name was already copyrighted by a mop, or a cleaning company. I think it was a mop company, actually. And that's how we came to know SpongeBob SquarePants. Dora the Explorer pilot. This episode was an unaired episode of Dora the Explorer. Half of this 15-minute pilot was released officially on Funlines by Helena Gers, who was the production designer of the series. The episode features Dora and Boots finding their way to the beach. Hey Arnold pilot was shown in theater. The pilot of Hey Arnold is actually very rare. It was created in 1994, and it was initially released on July 1st, 1995, where it was shown in theaters after the movie Harriet the Spy. It was then released on VHS in 1996. After that, never released again. Kurt Cobain Ren and Stimpy song. Kurt Cobain allegedly had wrote a song for the Ren and Stimpy show, yet the executives didn't like the song, and John Kay was angered by Kurt's arrogance, so they threw the song out and it was never heard again. Pinwheel and Clockman. Pinwheel Clockman was a paper cutout animated film that was released in communist Czechoslovakia. Blame It on George has a very good video that covers this whole cartoon kind of film. I'll link it down below in the description. Ned's Declassified High School Survival Guide. Ned's Declassified High School Survival Guide was a 2008 pilot for a continuation to Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Yet the show was never picked up and the pilot was never released. Johnny Quasar. Johnny Quasar was an early prototype of Jimmy Neutron that was released in 1995 and 1997. Adult spin-off. So I'm assuming when they say adult spin-off, they mean the Ren and Stimpy party cartoon, adult party cartoon, because I wasn't really... Adult spin-off is a very basic term. There's not a lot to look up for. I just looked up adult spin-off Nickelodeon. And you're not going to see very much other than maybe some things that you probably don't want to see if you like your childhood. But the Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon was a pretty well-known TV show. It was just Ren and Stimpy, but it was created for adult audiences. The problem with it is it was horribly received, and there were only 3 episodes created before it was canceled. A Ren and Stimpy episode was meant for Tiny Toon. I couldn't find much about this. I'm assuming that they meant, though, the storyboard that was created for Tiny Toon, but it ended up being rejected, and then the story was picked up by Ren and Stimpy, and that's where it ended up getting used. Cat Scratch pilot / animation test. The animation test / pilot for Cat Scratch was the Pitch Animation Reel, which was a series of animations made to display the designs and personalities of the colorful characters of Cat Scratch. There are very few versions of the pitch, with the plot being very loosely strung together throughout these bits shown, but there's not much to go off of. Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain opening. There's a version of Pinky and the Brain's intro that was sung by the Animaniacs. SpongeBob and Terran. SpongeBob and Terran was a 44-minute movie created in 2017 that featured SpongeBob and Patrick traveling to Iran for the first time. They got their attentions caught by hamburgers until they noticed something happening and Mr. Krabs holding a gun at SpongeBob. I'm sorry if that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that is the IMDb description of this movie. So, yeah. Blame IMDb. SpongeBob in China. SpongeBob in China was a video series created by the Amsterdam comedy group Boom Chicago. The first video was released in 2007, and it went completely viral. I have doubt that most people on YouTube haven't seen it. Unless you haven't been here very long, then there's a good chance you might not have. The follow-up for that was created 5 years after the initial video, but there really hasn't been anything since. Sanjay and Craig is a regular show ripoff. This thought was created by Valskibum 94. I'm sorry, dude. I'm fucking so bad at like saying things. This tries to say that Sanjay and Craig was a regular show ripoff. Personally, even though I didn't like Sanjay and Craig, I very much disagree with this because it just doesn't seem to be the same. There's very few similarities, and for what similarities there are, it seems like he's just trying to grasp for straws with it. Yummer. Yummer is a quote-unquote urban legend revolving around SpongeBob Saves the Day. I say urban legend in quotes because it's actually true. I don't know if urban legend means something that I don't think it does, but whatever. When a group of enthusiasts went through the game's files of SpongeBob Saves the Day, they found some sprites that were never seen in the game, and they appeared just off screen, which would be like a pop-up if some sort of action was done a lot of the time. But there were 2 sprites that were never shown at all throughout the entire game, both labeled Yummer, and one of them has the character's face in view, and the other one just has the hands. After emails to the development team, they had finally made a statement about the origins of this image, saying that it was literally just a modeling test created around 2010 to become a meme in the office and was used as like a placeholder in the game. The Loud House movie had many delays. It's a pretty generic entry. The Loud House movie was delayed from 2019 all the way up till sometime this year. Initially thought it was delayed because of COVID, but another movie had been released in the initial date given for the Loud House being aired for the first time. It could have something to do with the initial creator of the show being kicked off because of the sexual assault allegations, but then again, it just could be something completely different. It all started when I was born. This is a scene from SpongeBob in the episode SpongeBob Tentacle Pants, which throughout the episode, SpongeBob and Squidward are morphed together, and towards the end, an accident happens with like this fusion rifle, and it combines Squidward with a bunch of other characters. This scene is him talking to a therapist where he says the line, "It all started when I was born," and then it shows the fusion of him and all the other characters. That concludes the last tier of the iceberg we'll do today. I'd like to really quickly thank you all for all like the amazing support recently. I've grown so much that I could not really expect it in such a short period of time. I know this video isn't like something super special or anything, but I've been really busy with school and family stuff in general, and a lot of personal things. But I'm trying to stay pretty efficient with it. I think at the start of the video when I had initially recorded this, I had just hit 200 subs when I was doing the intro. Now I'm at 600, so Jesus guys, thank you so fucking much. I love you all, and I hope you all have a great and amazing rest of your day actually, you know.